My name is Justin Oakley, and I was the keeper of the list. If you followed the list of school closings, I did that. I'm officially retiring from that. Thank you for being here today, and with no further ado, I want to introduce you to my friend, my spirit of hope, the woman who's leading AFT Indiana, Ms. GlenEva Dunham.
Good morning, good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me up there? Kinda shaky? I'm gonna use my teacher voice. So if I'm hollering, I'm gonna use my teacher voice because I want everybody to hear us this morning. All right, so again, I'm GlenEva Dunham. I'm president of AFT Indiana and also president of the Gary Teachers Union, Local 4, AFT, AFL-CIO. Welcome to our house. You know this is our house, the State House. On this historic 2019 Organization Day, today we celebrate ourselves for being here to stand up and lift up our collective voices for public education. We stand for our students who need our voices. We stand for our communities who need our voices. We stand for our families who need our voices, and we stand for ourselves, certified and classified educators. We don't stand alone. We stand with our 5,000 members throughout the state of Indiana. Standing with me today as president of our local unions, when I call your name, I just want you to wave your hand. So we have from the retired Gary Teachers Chapter, Mary Garrison. Hammond Teachers Union, Lou. Retired Hammond Teacher Chapter, Phyllis. East Chicago Federation of Teachers, Helen. Anderson Federation of Teachers, Randy. LaPorte Federation of Teachers, Claudia. Griffith Federation of Teachers, Kay and Kathy. Blackford Federation of Teachers, Sherry. Lake Station Federation of Teachers, Euides. Fayette County Federation of Teachers, Amanda. North Tipton Federation of Teachers, Jill. Northwest Co-op Teachers Union, Trish. Daleville Federation of Teachers, Ann. Avon Federation of Teachers, Avon, Susie. SSU Madison Federation of Teachers, Edna. South Dearborn Teacher Association, Jim. East Porter Federation of Teachers, Deanna. Knox Federation of Teachers, Travis. Hebron Federation of Teachers, Joanne. Rush County Federation of Teachers, Barb. And Greenfield Teachers Association, Lisa. We have our sister and national president of AFT, Randi Weingarten, with us today. We have our legislators and friends of public education standing with us as well. We are not alone in this fight. We have Senator Tim Laney, Minority Leader, Senate Democrats. Representative Phil Giaquinta, Minority Leaders, House Democrats. My sister and my executive board member, Representative Melanie Wright, one of the few teachers on the General Assembly. We have Brett Voorhees, President, Indiana, AFL-CIO. We have State Senator Eddie Melton, Ranking Minority Leader, Senate Education. We have Rep. Vernon Smith, Ranking Minority Leader, House Education Committee. And we have our brother, Rep. Ed Delaney, Member, House Education. And there are so many more in the House, and we thank you for all of your support, our friends of public education. I have to shout out our AFT Indiana staff. So we have Sally Sloan in the House, Aaron Sutto, Rick Matasak, and the keeper of the list, Justin Oakley. So we stand today with our school board members and superintendents and parents who understand our fight. Today, 146 districts supported the closing so that we could be here. Our Red for Ed campaign, Fund Our Future. What do we want from the members of the General Assembly and their leader, Governor Holcomb? We want to stop excessive testing, experimental testing. Enough is enough. Follow the money. Indiana spent $133 million on standardized testing over the last 2 years. I learn, I read, I step. Our children are more than a test score. We want respect for educators. All of our members deserve respect. We are professionals who can choose the right for continuing education courses that is best for our teachers and our students. Stop the mandate of the 15-hour externship. Fund our schools. Let me say that. Fund our schools. Fund our schools. Yes, we say fund our schools. Fund our schools. We want to fund our schools. Yay, fund our schools. We want to fund our schools to stop the teacher shortages. Pay us fair wages to recruit and reclaim the best. Our children deserve the best. We know that over 90% of all of our Hoosier students attend public schools. We need our lawmakers to increase the funding for our public schools and stop funding charters and vouchers with public dollars. We will hear from our legislative friends, and today we have an action. We will walk the halls of this State House and engage our lawmakers to sign pledge cards to commit to spend 1 day in a public education school between now and the first day of the session. They need to walk in our shoes. They need to engage with our students, and they need to see the children that we educate daily. Can they fill our shoes? No. We will also pass out flyers expressing why we are here. So if anybody asks you and you can't explain it, we have some flyers that you can hand to them. As I look into this sea of red, I see hope and I see our future. Now the ball is in the lawmakers' hands. What will they do with it? This is just the beginning. We are organizers. We are AFT, United Solidarity Forever. If we have to, we will be back. Forever, the union makes us strong. So our first speaker this morning is Senator Tim Laney, Minority Leader, Senate Democrats.
Thank you. Hey, good morning, teachers. All right. Hey, I saw the sign, said something about pencils down, teachers' voices. Use those teacher voices down here, okay? You know what? As I remind everybody who comes down here, and I'm so pleased to see this sea of red, this is your house. It belongs to you. Don't be afraid. Speak up and speak out about all of these issues. Because apparently, they haven't got the message down here so far. So yes, I'm glad to hear you say, you're down here today, you're going to be down here tomorrow, you're going to be down here every day till we get the job done, because people need to start listening, especially when it comes to education. You know who we need to be listening to? We need to be listening to the educators. Thank you for being here. And I can tell you this. There's not one person in this building, not one legislator, who would be anything today except for a teacher in their lives. So thank you so much for what you've done. And so, yes, last year, they said they were going to give y'all a teacher's pay increase, because we know where we're at in Indiana, the bottom 1/3 of the nation. Do we want to be in the bottom 1/3 of the nation? Heck no, come on. We know that since 2002, Indiana has had the slowest growth in the nation when it comes to teachers' wages. We can't stand for that. We got to do better, and we will do better for sure. Now, here's something they haven't told you about in terms of how we can fund education. And I'll leave it to my other fellow legislators to talk about this. But guess what? We may have to open up this budget this year. And we may find funds for this and for that and whatsoever, and you know, who knows what, some pet project here and there. Well, I'm going to tell you the project that I'm interested in. It's getting teachers a fair pay increase. How's that sound, all right? And there's that old saying, where there's a will, there's a way. So, thank goodness you're here. This is your house. Speak up, be loud, be proud. God bless the teachers. God bless the AFT. Thank you for being here today.
Our next speaker is Tim Giaquinta, Minority Leader, House Democrats.
Hey. Oh.
Phil, sorry.
It's not me that's important, it's you all that are much more important. Thank you for coming down here this morning and for being around today. My name is Phil Giaquinta. I am the leader of the House Democrats. And by the way, I've got my colleagues up here. I want my colleagues who work with me every day, Carly, everyone else, please stand. Representative Austin. My colleagues up here. We are running a little bit short on time, so my message is going to be brief, but I just want you to know that House Democrats fight for you, fight for teachers every single day. We really do. We had bills this past session that would have set a 5% raise for teachers over the next 2 years. We filed legislation that would start at a minimum salary for new teachers starting at around $50,000 a year. We fight for teachers every single day in the General Assembly. I've talked to a superintendent the other day that told me he's losing young professionals because they aren't paid well, but more importantly, they aren't treated with respect. We are losing the respect of teachers, and that's not right, and that's what we're going to change, and House Democrats are attempting to do that. We're fighting for you every single day. I want you to know that my colleagues and I, we will be around today. We want to shake your hands. We want to hear what you have to say. I'm just so pleased that you're here. Come back. Session starts January 6th. We'll see you then. Thank you, everybody.
My sister and my executive board member, Representative Melanie Wright, and a teacher.
Hey everybody, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for everything you do for children. I do want to make special mention of my colleague, Representative Terry Austin, who's a retired teacher. So she's right down here, member of the American Federation of Teachers. Thank you for your support, Terry. You guys, I know the struggles with standardized testing and how we are just not teaching things that are developmentally appropriate for our children. That's the message that needs to be heard by our legislators. Just the other day, I was in a professional development where yet we still had teachers in tears because they were so frustrated because we had to yet do something else to get prepared for a test. When are we going to start preparing our kids for the future? We can no longer be beholden to standardized testing companies. We must be beholden to the children of the state of Indiana. When we wonder why we have so many jobs that are available in Indiana, let's look at our education. Let's look at how we have not had a genuine conversation and a seat in the table, even as elected officials on this topic. It's very troubling. We have got to find some middle ground on this issue because it far exceeds party line. We're talking about children of Indiana. We must stand and we must fight for the children of Indiana. And with that being said, we must loosen the ties that bind the student test scores to the teacher evaluations. That makes no sense whatsoever. How about using some of that money and some of the fiscal accountability that the testing companies don't have to use and put that towards our children instead? So we hear you and we are with you every single day fighting and telling the stories of public education. And before I get off this microphone, I want to thank you every single day for coming to school, for doing your best for kids, and for standing in for people when no one else is doing it right now. Thank you.
From my hometown, Gary, Indiana, a longtime advocate for public education, Dr. Vernon Smith.
As I look at you today, I am encouraged and I am energized. And I think it's no coincidence that you chose to wear the color of red today. Red, which is synonymous to blood and with fire, means power. Teachers, you have the power to bring about a change in this state. So I've come to remind you about Tony Bennett. Some of you remember Tony Bennett? You showed him that you had the power. You have the power. So all I want to do today is to energize you today and to wake you up and have you understand. The legislature would have you think that you are the pauper, but you are a prince and you are a princess. You have the power. Use your power on election day. The legislature would have you think that you are borrowers, but you are lenders. Use your power on election day. This legislature would have you think that you're the mice of the jungle, but you're the lions of the jungle. Use your power on election day. The legislature will have you think that you're Goliath, but you're David. You can slay Goliath. Send a message upstairs to the third floor that you have the power to control the future of education. The legislature will have you think that you're chickens pecking on the ground, but you're eagles. Stretch your wings and fly. You have the power to bring about a change in education. J.E.K. Agri, a West African minister, said to his people, "My people of Africa, we are created in the image of God." Men will have us think that we're chickens, but we're eagles. Stretch forth your wings and fly. You have got to understand the dynamics of politics in this house. You have got to connect all the dots together. think about who has been in control for the last 10 or 15 years. And that's where the problems are coming. So every time this body wants to mess with teachers, mess with students, mess with public education, mess with parents, you are to see red. And you shouldn't just get angry, you are to get mad and vote blue. Thank you.
Our brother from Indiana AFL-CIO, President Brett Voorhees.
Thank you, GlenEva. Good morning, Indiana teachers. Good morning, Indiana teachers. Let's make sure that we're loud and clear, that we're here to send a message to the governor that we won't put up with it anymore, right? I'm here to let all of you know that as president of the Indiana AFL-CIO, the 300,000 hardworking men and women across this state stand with you shoulder to shoulder. Your fight is our fight. Let's go.
So we have a friend who's been with us. She's not on the program, but she's been sticking with public education against all odds. Our State Superintendent, Jennifer McCormick.
So I'm going to go back down and come back up, and let's do it again. No, I'm teasing. So first of all, thank you so much for being here. Today, we have 15,000 educators who are here in Indianapolis to show their support for our 1.2 million students. There is a sign way up top where a lady has a sign that says, "My kids deserve better." And here's what I will tell you. Indiana kids deserve adequate and equitable funding, hands down. Indiana students deserve to have the blame game that is now being placed at the local level to stop. Indiana kids deserve an honest conversation on where the money is going and who is representing our public schools. Indiana kids deserve a fair and accurate accountability system on our educators and on our schools. And lastly, and most importantly, Indiana kids deserve all of you. They deserve great teachers and great leaders and great support staffs to make it happen. You know, I live this house. Many of these people on this stage have lived it a lot longer than I have. And I will tell you, this cannot be a one day and done. That does not help. This has got to be a movement that continues. Without a doubt, as a parent, as an educator, as a state superintendent, clearly the message is our kids deserve the advocacy that you see today. But what a shame that it takes today to get what our kids deserve. Thank you.
And so, can you get on your feet for my president, your president, the national president of American Federation of Teachers, Randi Weingarten.
So, you know, we are educators, right? I happen to be an educator, a teacher from New York City, an 11th and 12th grade social studies teacher, And I am so proud to be with all of you today because teachers want what students need. It is a lesson that you know, that your state superintendent knows, that everyone on this stage knows, but clearly not everyone in this house knows. So would you help me for a minute in this beautiful cacophony of noise and repeat after me. Teachers want what students need. Teachers fight for what students deserve. Now, you know, this is a state that likes to think about data, right? This is a state that's into data, right? D-A-T-A, right? So I want to just put out a few numbers. Let's see if we remember these numbers and use them. 50, 2 billion, 94, and 90. Okay, let's see if the state would actually use an accountability system with those numbers. And let me explain. 90% of Indiana school kids go to public schools. The state has a $2 billion surplus. 94% of Indiana districts report a teacher shortage because teachers' salaries in Indiana are dead last. They're 50th. So look, I'm a social studies teacher, not a math teacher. But even I can get this, which is if 90% of the kids go to public schools and there's a $2 billion surplus and 94% of the districts have a shortage because salaries are dead last, don't you think the state should do something about that data? If we're gonna fixate on data, let's fixate on that data. Because at the end of the day, what's going on in this state? Education, public education, is for the future of this state. And yet, in the last 10 years, this state has treated education as a commodity, not as a precious resource. And as a result, kids are treated like test scores. You are treated like algorithms. And instead of thinking about fixating on our children, half of whom come to school with trauma, so many of whom who are poor, why are we not fixating on kids and having the freedom to teach rather than testing? There are many states over the course of these last 30 years. Remember I said, I taught in New York City. I taught in New York City in the 90s. We had to scavenge for chalk because the city wasn't doing well then. But over the course of time, just like you here in this house, we got together, we walked the walk. We can't, everyone in this room, you can't do everything. But everyone in this room, in this house can do something, which is why you are here today. And over the course of the last many years, we got teachers' raises, we got money back into schools, We changed No Child Left Behind. We changed Race to the Top. All of this took voice and took people being at the Capitol, people on the streets, teachers raising their voice, which is what you are doing in Indiana today. This is, as you heard from your AFL-CIO chair, this is what labor does. Together, working together, using our voice together to fight for the things that families need. That is what you are doing in Indiana today. But every speaker who's been before me, GlenEva in particular, it can't be one day. You are sending a message to those in this house who don't want to hear you. We need to send that message over and over again that teachers want what children need, and we will fight to get that. Thank you.
Yeah! Randi! AFT! Thank you, Randi. And like Randi said, this is not a one-day event. We have emails, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have more than we've ever had before to get our message across. And that's how today came about. Red revolt, red educators for red, hashtag red for ed. All of those groups, we need you to stay in force so we can move to the next action. So right now we're going to start our press conference, and we have questions, media. We have State Senator Eddie Melton, State Senator Ed Delaney, and Representative Vernon Smith, who will field questions for us. So are there any questions from the audience? Press. Any questions from the press? Here's a mic up in front. Questions from individuals. Y'all fielding these.